Good morning. You are here with Negan on Negan Time. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to be playing Soul Mask. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is the same thing that everyone does in these games. We're going to gather supplies, materials, and everything of that nature. We're going to turn on that light so we can see a little bit better and so that you can see a little bit better. So these crabs right here are going to be very, very important. They are actually one of the first required materials when you get to copper, or actually I should say bronze, and you will need them quite readily at that point, and then you'll find it hard to find because there's not a whole lot of shell giving animals in the future besides turtles, and have fun killing them before you actually have good gear, because once they go into that healing phase, it's a nightmare to get out of them out of it. Okay, so we're gonna come back once I've gathered some materials and we are going to pick up then. Okay, so here we are. We got some materials, we got our weapons, our initial weapon to begin with anyways, and we've got a little bit of the basic materials that you're going to be needing. Once you get everything ready, we're going to go and start hunting some of these crabs. I like to get at least about 100 shells. You need, I believe, is 8 for each piece of armor. Um, And this is a game that makes you craft a lot of armor. You are constantly crafting gear and weapons due to the durability loss. Honestly, I think it's a little too heavy on the durability loss, but that's not my question. You know, it's not my choice to make it. That's the developers. Um, I like to use the spear because it has the scorpion move, and it makes it a little easier to just harvest all of them. All right, so now we're just going to repeat this process a couple of times all the way around the island until we get to the other side, where we should roughly have between 70 to about 100. Depending on the server that you're playing, if you have boosted rates, that is going to make a difference, but that's the average that I find that I get. Okay, so as you can see, we are at the end of the island. We have gotten quite a few of the crabs, and in a moment you'll be able to see quite how many we've actually gotten. It's also time for us to start actually making our armor. So you're gonna learn the linen and the jewelry. That's gonna make it so that you can actually put on armor, which is what this game is based on. Okay, we're gonna learn the bonfire because the first thing I'm going to do when I get to the other island is I'm gonna put down my bonfire. The reason why we do that is so that we can get that helper, that extra helper. So right now, I am going to be getting our boxes, our band-aids, anything to heal us, and pretty much all the beginning stuff that you need at this game. So let's make some linen, and then let's also make some armor. So as I was saying, this game is based on armor and weapons. Your health, your defense, absolutely everything. Honestly, I'm not quite sure how I feel about the design that they did. I think it's a little, I want to say, pedantic. So right now we're gonna head over to this island. This is the first thing that I like to do when I start playing the game, and the primary reason for it is because it has a great route to get as many salt stones and the crystals, the green crystals, as possible. I also stay on this island until I make my wooden boat. I'm a very big fan of the entire flying ship idea. That is primarily the reason why I play the game. I saw the announcements for it a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, yes, I am definitely going to get it. So This is technically me playing the game for the first time. I just began to play a couple of weeks ago. I am in no way a veteran, nor am I an expert in this game. But then again, from my understanding, is that most people are not. So by putting down the fire, the first thing that's going to happen is that someone is going to come up, a vagabond, and they're going to ask to join your clan. I highly suggest that you do. Now, you can do one of two things with this person. You can, one, take him with you to fight, and they're going to be in between level 15 up to level, I believe, is 24 is the highest that I've seen, um, as they come up to you. Okay? Now, anyone in this island is going to be roughly level 10 or lower, which means that this person is going to be at least twice as strong as everyone in this island. So it should make them quite easy to be able to kill anyone. So right now, moving the fire over to a foundation. No particular reason other than to just be able to just build off of it and make it a little easier. Also, they like to build, or excuse me, they like to sit around the foundations. And if you don't put the fire on a foundation, they will get all wanky and get stuck everywhere. This game also introduces one of my favorite things in the world, which is, first of all, crafting from containers, but more importantly, dedicated storage. Oh my god, this is amazing. Okay? Dedicated storage just makes it so that you have a storage for a specific form of loot. So in this case, you can either go individually, which means that you can put in just logs into one box, or you can put all wooden supplies into one log. That's fiber, wood, uh, sticks, uh, thatch, anything that is wood related will go into that one. Same thing with minerals, weapons, and so forth and so forth. Um, so right now, you're gonna see me working on my assistant. Let's call her my assistant. I'm gonna put her to lumber, and that is going to make her gather wood. Um, that is the primary thing that I want her to do, just because wood is a very important material at the beginning. It's all gonna be put in here. So now we're going to start getting ready. Let's put some wood in the fire, but let's start getting ready so that we can go and do our first run around the island. Okay, so at this time, I don't have a whole lot of band-aids. As you can see, my health is a little low, and I don't want to use up the ones that I have, so I'm very selective of what fights I'm going to get into right now. I don't want to fight the pigs, because they'll... Pumbaa hurts, okay? Pumbaa can pack a punch. So I'm trying to be cautious and very selective as to who I fight. These guys I want to kill, and that's because they drop band-aids, and that right there was a perfect parry, so that's actually something that you really want to strive for. When you parry, you actually stagger the enemy for about a good 4 to 6 seconds, roughly. Um, it makes it so that they cannot attack and they're in a down state. And you can pretty much stagger every single weapon in this game. The hammer is a little special in the sense that there are special skills that the hammer does that cannot be staggered. Now, this right here is pretty important. As you can see, they're running away once they get to a certain distance away from the campfire. From their initial checkpoint, they tend to back off, and that's something that you want to keep an eye on because it will reset a fight very, very quickly. Now, a lot of the times they will fully heal. Other times they'll heal, but not completely. So it goes back and forth on that end. You can take advantage of it and deal some damage after running away and make it easier. Now, another thing to point out is that when you do this, you throw your weapon at them and you are summoning them essentially, or you're targeting them so they can come to you. Only the one that you hit will come to you. If you are far away enough, they will not be able to target you. They will only go to where the sound was. So if you're close, then everyone will aggro. But if you're far enough, then they'll only go to where the spear landed, and whoever was hit, that's who'll come. That right there is a skill that you have to learn in order to be able to work on your mask. And we'll go into the mask later on because that is a lot more detailed. So as you can see, I'm very slowly gathering band-aids because this person, you're going to need them. The Outcast Master takes a lot more heads than everyone else to kill. So right now I want to kill this person. They have a pretty good chance of dropping a weapon. I'm hoping for a spear, a bone spear. They can be staggered, as you can see, which makes it a little easier. And then after you do a couple of regular attacks, you also want to do a special attack by left-clicking your mouse, and that will trigger it. So healing in this game is a pain in the ass. You will see that when you go into the healing phase, you will not only use your band-aid, but you will actually stop moving, and it takes about a good 2 seconds to actually use a band-aid. And if they're attacking you, as you can see, it interrupts your band-aid, you wasted it, and you still didn't heal. Also, it takes a while for the band-aid to actually take over. It's a tick. It's a per second heal. It's not just an instant heal. Okay, so this right here. When you actually get hit, your health reaches 0, you don't die. You go into this faint death. Now, I got lucky. She decided that she was going to worship me, which she very well should. I mean, I am a god in front of her. So she's in this position of worship. I can take advantage of this. And like an idiot, I did not. So now that I had the time, I'm going to show her that I am the boss. And thank God she died because she was kicking my butt. So she didn't drop the weapon, but she dropped a red shirt, which, as you can see, will increase my health significantly. It also grants us access to the box that she was protecting right here. And this is the stuff that you are going to be looking to get. The soul stones and the energy stones. Those are very, very important. So on the top right, you'll see that I actually have 2+ hours worth of energy. So for the next 2 hours, I can stay in this mask, essence, or I don't know what you would call it. Honestly, it's weird. But you can stay on it for the next 2 hours, and you're not going to run out of energy. But after that is done, trust me, you will run out of energy, and you will go through it quite fast. So now I'm going to show you the route that I like to take. The first thing I like to do is I like to kill all of the animals, and that's because you will need a lot of hide. So the chickens are annoying. They don't drop any hide. They just give you blood and feathers. But the piggies, well, Pumbaa definitely will give you good stuff. And like I said, with the hammer, they are essentially overpowered at the beginning. They will give you between 1 and 2 shots, and it'll kill everything. This next section that I'm going to be doing right now is going to be the armadillos, or whatever the hell they're called. However, I like to go and hit them, and then run, hit another one, and run, hit another one, and do this all the way around until I have gathered all of them. Once I get all of them, then I do just an AoE, kill them all at once. And now you can gather all of the hide in one hit versus just having to do it separately. Just one more way of being time management. Okay, so now you're gonna go through the back. You're gonna run into two more piggies over here. Um, I suggest, highly suggest, that you kill them first. And the reason why is because if you don't, they will surprise you by the back and kill you. If you get the piggy below 30% and don't kill it quick enough, they will run away. Heal, and then come back and say hello. Alright, so right here, there's going to be two guys. You're going to kill these two guys. They're not hard. They're basically, they have no armor, so they are quite easy to kill. I'm just trying over here to not get myself hit. And of course, I failed miserably and get hit with pretty much every hit that she has. At the beginning of the game, I like to take everything, including armor that I may not need. So when you do that, what I just do is that I just destroy it. So we're going to continue through the back. Now, you can go through the front and you can do other things on the other side. However, I find it that going around and following the pattern that I'm going to show you works much, much better. Everything is timed so that the boxes and the characters all respawn at the time that you finish it. So you could, in essence, do this run multiple times in a row and never have to stop. So right here, hug the wall so that you don't take damage falling down. There's going to be two guys. Clearly, I'm not very good at blocking with my hammer. As you can see, I was looking for the second person right here because I didn't see them. The sphere is a nice way to stop the running at you. It does knock them down sometimes, which is really, really, really nice. So just keep that in mind. So for the next couple of minutes, we're just going to kill everyone, and I'm going to show you the route. All right? So let's speed up the process. Okay, so in this next section right here, you're going to be accessing the control panel for the Soulmask. Now, this panel is very important. It will give you access to the actual control tab, which gives you ability to, I guess it's enslave, mind controlled, or subjugate. I don't know what you want to call it, but it gives you access to control enemy NPCs so that you can subjugate them. The first, I believe, gives you, is 3, and then you get, I think it's 6, and then 15. So this one right here is a worker. I like to subjugate the workers first, mostly because the first things that I need are people around my base that are going to be able to do it. So in this island in particular, when they get to below 50% health, you are able to subjugate them, and not only that, they also take less time to actually be deterred. So as you can see, she's almost ready. I picked her up by mistake. I'm just waiting for her to hit 500, and there we go. So I'm looking for a couple of things. So the first thing that I'm looking for is going to be that she is a rare and that she has a good amount of crafting. If she has any 120s, or if she is a level 6 character, an NPC, then I would keep her. If she has a couple of them that are above 100, then I'll keep them. The first few I will keep pretty much no matter what, just because I just don't have any of them. That way, there's a special ability that the hammer has that actually technically have not even used up to this point. It makes it so you take 50% less damage. Now, even though I'm the one who hit this guy, why he is focused on her is beyond my understanding. So again, we're gonna speed up, and then I'll meet you back when we get to the main boss. And this part is going to be important. Okay, so here we are once again at the same spot that we were earlier, where we have the three guys. We're gonna kill them individually, the best that we can. And now, instead of killing the boss, okay, because I'm not interested in killing the boss anymore, now what I want to do is that I want to actually deter the boss. And I'm gonna show you why, okay? Once we kill these guys, this next step is very, very important. As are those nice bandages. I don't use those at the beginning. I like to save them for whenever I am fighting a special crocodile or a special beast. Okay, so again, remember the point of this is not to kill him, it's actually to be able to deter him. So my goal right now is just to get him to half health. And even blocking him, the fucker does a lot of damage. So we still don't have the message to deter. My health is pretty low, so I want to actually get a heal in, but he did not let me. And then he runs back again. So instead of following him, I'm actually going to do my heal. Now I got 2-on-1, which is not exactly what we like to call ideal, especially since he's a boss. But it is what it is. We will need to get this done. And there is the ideal number. Less than 50%, we deter him. And now I'm going to kill this guy. Because this guy I don't give a crap about. So there are two reasons why I wanted to deter the boss. One is because he's a master, which means that his stats are usually going to be on the higher end. So if you look, he has top gear, which is what I want to steal from him. Everything that he has is all mine now. So when you deter them, you actually get all of their gear. Okay? You don't just get the one or two little pieces that they drop. This, you can actually keep all of their. Now, you can toss it, you can keep it, you can leave it on him, and then take him with you. So I'm gonna look at him. He is not level 6. So that little top yellow, the sign on the top left means that he is level 5. If it was red, it would be level 6. He has okay skills, but they're not great. I'm usually looking for battle test at level 3, which means that he's gonna actually take 60% less damage than I normally would in combat. As long as they're a follower, they'll take 60% less damage. So not great, but it's better than nothing. And right now, I just need fighters. And look at the difference in damage that that spear does. Okay, so now the only thing that you need to keep in mind is in order to be able to repair the bone gear, you need to know how to craft it. In order to repair gear in your inventory, you have to know how to make it. So bone gear or anything else that you try to repair in your inventory, you must have the recipe for it. Later on, you're going to get what is called a repair bench. Now, in the repair bench, it does not matter if you know the blueprints for the weapons, the armors, it does not matter. It will repair anything that you put in it that is allowed to be repaired. But while gear is in your inventory, it cannot be repaired unless you have the schematic for it, unless you have learned how to make it. So, since it's night, I'm gonna go back to my base. I'm gonna drop off some of the stuff that I have on me, and I am going to fiddle around the base for a little bit. So the reason why you see the vagabond dancing is because she has gathered all of the wood that was around. So she will not do anything else until more trees grow within a 30-meter range of the actual bonfire. Okay, so at this time, what we're going to start doing is we're going to start setting up the workers to actually perform specific tasks. So by going into wild collections, you can actually specify what you want to harvest. Make a note that you will harvest the order of whichever you choose. So if you pick all three, such as wood, stone, and uh, the sickle, the harvesting, it will go in the order that you put them in. So it will always pick those first. So what I'm doing right now is that since I have three guys, I'm putting each one to do one specific job. So everyone is going to do one different thing. So one is going to pick harvesting, the other one's going to mine, and then the other one is going to collect wood. So he'll do lumber. So that way no one overlaps over the same thing. Because you will see that if you pick two or three people to do the same thing, they will all target the same one, and then they'll go back and forth over and over again, chasing each other. So they won't go to three different areas. The computer, the AI, will automatically make them pick whatever is closest to them or the next target that they have. So both or three or four people will continuously select the same one. So you'll see a nice little train of just characters going from one spot to the next. So that's why you want to put, at least one person on one job at a time. So right here, what I'm doing is I'm just destroying things that I don't need and that I'm not going to use. It just makes everything a little more practical to use. So as you can see, it's what I was telling you, you cannot repair it unless you actually um, know the recipe. Another important point to point out is that your workers will not drink out of available water that is near them. They will only drink out of canteens or a well, meaning that you have to make them a source of water. Even if you're standing next to water, they will not drink anywhere else. They will only drink out of your source. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to go and we're going to do the same route all over again. Since I've done this once already for you, I am just going to skip this part and then you know what it is that we are going to do. So I will come back when this is already finished. Okay, so we're gonna jump here real quick before we actually get to the last boss because this guy's a master, which usually means that they have either really good skills or they are a level 6 worker. Woo, that was close. I almost put her in the grave. Okay, so we're going to train her, but now because we are level 12, we're going to be able to get the second level, which will increase us from maximum of 3 to a maximum of 6. And that will make it, and look at that, she is a nice, a whip. So while that is actually a really bad level of proficiency, meaning that she is going to be taking more damage than I would like her to, like if she was level 3, that would be preferable. I do like the fact that she's above 120 in the whip, which actually is one of the best, if not the best, weapon currently in the game until they nerf it. I would imagine they're going to nerf it at some point. There are some seriously, and I mean seriously, stupid good skills out there for the whip. And we're going to details into that much later on when I managed to get everybody settled and we start developing weapons and all of that. So right now, don't even worry about that. Right now, we're focused on surviving. That's our focus. So once again, we're going to do the same thing with this guy. We are going to knock her out just so that we can get those weapons. But because we have a bone actual spear now, we are in a much better position to do that. See, this time was a lot easier. Not to mention that we have more armor. And there we go, a nice red shield. This one was a mediocre, to say the least. So since the gear is not all that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to wake her up. I'm going to make her join my party and see if she's any good at that point. So also, now that we're level 12, we can actually learn bone gear. So that's going to make it so that we can actually repair this gear. So as you can see, I'm going to get the spear, but I'm also going to get the dual blades. And the reason why is bosses are susceptible to bleed, as every other animal in this game. The only things that cannot bleed are machines, but everything else can bleed, which makes it so that even if you're not stronger than them, what you can do is that you can just make them bleed. Now, keep in mind that right now I made a huge mistake right there. She didn't have good skills, so I dismissed her because I didn't want her. But what I should have done is I should have taken the gear that she had, removed it, and given it to my other apprentice that I have behind me, instead of just letting her go with it. That was a major mistake in my haste to move on so that I can, spend the most amount of time doing things and, not have an hour and a half worth of filler in this video. I made that mistake. So just keep that in mind. Like, that's something that you want to do. So right about now, I'm going to be focusing a little bit on the crafting tables and everything else that goes along with it. It does make it so it's a little easier once you have good gear. I'm going to be making the whip because, like I said, the whip is the best weapon in the game. However, there's other weapons that I like to use at the beginning of the game other than the whip. The whip does take a significant amount of time to level. However, I will show you an insane trick to leveling not only your character, but your subordinates, and to also level up any mask from level 0 to level 10 in the span of 20 minutes. It is incredibly fast. So right here, you're going to see me giving the new apprentice the whip. This is the person who has a 120 plus whip skill. So our goal is to get her to use that as often as possible. That way, she is able to use up that skill. Eventually, we're going to be using her. Soulmask is a game designed for you to use a secondary character as your primary. So essentially, your primary character will never be as good as the other characters around it. Eventually, you will be able to use certain technology that can transfer their skills over to your body, and then you can use it as a primary. But realistically speaking, it's just easier to just use a secondary character than spend all those resources and time into switching it over to your primary. I mean, unless you get attached to your primary, which I wouldn't see the reason why. Once you beat the crocodile boss, you're able to store the DNA of your followers and a certain amount of followers, and then even if they die, you can just resurrect them. So it really makes no difference. And as you can see, I'm using up a lot of storage because it doesn't have a whole lot of room inside. This is the beginning storage. This is just thatch. So yeah, trust me, you will go through it a lot. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to organize some of this crap, because when the NPCs gather materials, they just throw it on any box. They don't care. Unless there's a dedicated box for it, they just throw it on any box. So it gets really messy, really disorganized, and I have somewhat of a little bit of an OCD on it. Okay, so right about now, I'm going to realize that I need my tools. So, in order to make bone tools, you need to craft them in the crafting bench. You cannot just make them in your inventory like you can the weapons. The tools have to be done in a crafting bench. So, I'm going to need resources. I'm going to make my base a little bigger. This game is a lot like Conan in a sense that it requires a lot of space for crafting benches of every kind. So you have tanning, lumen, workbench, weapons bench, an armor bench, cooking bench. I mean, if there's a bench, if there's a task, there's a bench for it. The good thing is that you can automate 100% of this game. And when I mean 100%, I mean 100%. Short of killing the bosses, everything else can be automated. So as you can see, what I'm doing right now is that I'm learning everything that I can possibly learn as far as crafting benches, secondary building materials, and everything else. If you're new, what I recommend is that you actually learn each one of those individually and build them individually one at a time, because otherwise you will forget to build one or two things. It's just the burden of the beast. There are just too many benches thrown at you first thing in the game. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so once you set up the benches, it's important to set up the work that is going to be happening inside of them. So this one is a very important bench. You're going to be having wooden handles, planks, hard wooden handles, and hardened planks. Set them for a low number at first because you don't have a whole lot of the materials. This number will increase later on. If you right click on the material that you want to click, it'll give you options. I believe it is D, that gives you the ability to craft multiple of them at a time to set it up either for an hourly rate or for a specific number. If you set the hourly rate, it will build a certain amount that you decided every certain amount of time that you decided. If you build an amount, what it'll do is it'll always maintain that amount. So then you want to put one of your workers in there to craft those specific materials. And then what it'll do is that it'll always be making that material until it has enough. Once you meet the quota, it'll stop building. So for example, say that you put it to make 50 planks. Well, it'll make planks until it gets to 50. Then it'll stop. Same thing here with the rough leather, the tanning fluid. Again, something that you want to be very cautious with is that you want to be careful with what materials you're using to craft that rough leather. You want to use specific ones, not just any of them, because you can use rare materials to craft mediocre things because it gives you all of the options. So again, I'm doing the same thing here. I'm setting it up so that I have specific amounts of certain items, and then I'm putting one of the workers to work on that. Something important to note is that that mannequin shadow that you see when you're building items is the phase that your workers are going to be facing while they're building stuff on here. So if they cannot phase that way because something is impeding their path, they will just not use that working station. So keep that in mind when you are building. Okay, so again, we have another lazy worker, so we're going to have to put them to do a little extra work. We're going to do the same thing. So with this one, we're going to switch it over to harvesting. So boom, now he's going to go pick up a tool and go to work. I don't want lazy people here. If I have to feed you, you're going to work. So right here, you can see that two of the materials have already reached the required amount. So 15 and 50. So that's going to make it so that you no longer need to build any more of those unless you take them out and use them on something else. So that is what I mean by having a predisposed amount to always use. And again, the main focus here is to make sure that you always have everything building something. Don't ever just be doing nothing, you know? Have your people always working so that way you can maximize as much as you can. What I like to do is I like to put everything to craft automatically so that they can always be doing something so that when I need materials, I don't have to wait for them to be built. You will see that later on in the game, you're going to require a lot more materials. So you're going to be switching that 50 over to a 500, some of them even to 5,000. So just be prepared that that is something that's going to happen eventually. So you're going to see me just prepping a lot for the next couple of minutes. And that is realistically the beginning of the game is just prepping, building, and gathering. I mean, that's pretty much every survival game there is. It's just getting everything ready so that when you are ready to set off on your journey, you no longer need to worry about what's at home. And the goal right now is that boat. We want to get to level 15 so that we can build our boat. All right, and as you can finally see, we finally have our craftman table. We had to build a lot of things to get this craftman table. Um, so now we'll be able to make our tools. Everything made out of bone is going to be significantly better than everything made out of stone, and so forth. It'll go up and higher. So again, I'm going to be making enough tools so that if my guys break their tools, they'll make new tools, and then it will be a circling, recycled entire system. So they'll use these tools to get the materials. When the tools break, they'll make more tools to get more tools used. I mean, it's a beautiful system. You will see that it'll work out beautifully. So I make myself a bone knife. I made a pretty good quality one too. Put someone to work on this crafting table. It doesn't really matter who it is. I just want to pick someone who doesn't have a whole lot of jobs doing already. And then just now I can officially go back to doing the runs, and that's pretty much it. Okay, guys, thank you for spending your time with me, and we will see you guys in the next episodes. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I will get to them on the next video or the one after that. And again, thank you, and have a great day.